Hello everyone, welcome to Patriots Across the Pond with Stu and Elisa, and today's show is REDPILLING Rene, and after a 2-week sabbatical, the intrepid wanderer returns from conquering Europe, no doubt. So, how are you, sir?
I'm concerned about Europe.
Well, so am I. I'm in it. Well, yeah. Am I in
but
it?
At least you have like water and stuff around you. I just sent Elisa some videos about what's going on in Ceuta, Spain.
Yeah,
it's freaking invasion.
Yeah, but that is not actually Spain, is it? That is North Africa, where that is. That's not actually mainland Spain. It is a province of Spain.
Yeah, but you know what? We've been invaded here in the States. So this has to play out worldwide to wake people up. So we don't.
So the Prime Minister of Spain is to do nothing about it.
Yeah, but he's a clown.
We have to show these people for what they are.
He's either cabal, still a cabal puppet, or he's capitulated and he's playing his part. But maybe part of Nasara is that everyone gets their own countries back. So, you know, Spain is claiming a couple of bits of top of Africa, isn't it? Morocco? Is it Morocco, that part?
I mean, it's weird. I didn't even know that Ceuta even existed. So it's on the African continent. Here's Morocco, and it's like this little enclave side of Morocco, but it's Spain. It's Spain for all intents and purposes, which is European Union. It's crazy.
Yeah. So is Spain, is Africa, so is Morocco, I think.
Yeah.
And Ceuta is
right there. Yep.
Right. So there. What is happening? What's happening is that,
I mean, it's an invasion.
Oh, hang on. There was I think it's in this. Yeah, there is a lot going on.
Crazy
in this
article.
There was,
and you know, it has to be coordinated at a government level. It has to be.
Yeah. Well, this is where you're seeing all these videos. People are getting. You got a short route and a long route. I don't know why someone's put that on there, right? Short route, they're swimming around the breakwater. Apparently, 18 people have died. If it was 17, I'd have been side-eyed.
Because you know that these knuckleheads, this level of knucklehead, cannot get organized. There's no way. Because I deal with this level of knucklehead all the time. They can't even figure out what day of the week it is. This requires incredible coordination.
Well, yeah, but it's like all the migrant caravans, that's the word I was thinking for, and all stuff like that. In the past, it was all what was it? Soros funded. What are they called? NGOs, right? Funded.
Yeah, I saw one video. I saw one video where there was a Spanish officer right there, just kind of like directing traffic.
Yeah, but doesn't it sound too absurd to actually be real? I mean, it's just like those caravans that came to the United States, and when you studied them closely, they had clean, brand new clothes on. They had flip-flops. According to the estimate, they were walking 45 miles a day, in order to, like, that what it said, where they came from to where they had to be each day and how long it would take to get here. We're watching a movie. It's each country has to have its own awakening. And we don't really know. Listen, we don't know what's really going on there because we're not there. They could be filming this in a studio. I'm not, I'm saying? I'm not saying they are, but we don't know. And we also don't know what operations are going on. It's an interesting theory to think that these invasions might not be who we think they are after all. Maybe they are military under the guise of being these migrants, because we had to get military into our country and into all these other countries to do whatever had to be done, going into tunnels, saving kids. So always take that idea.
So as always, I always finish with the same thought. I don't know.
None of
I
us.
don't know.
No. That's the best way.
And I have you folks to thank me for. I don't know.
Now, I'm not actually sure whether we're still part of Europe or, well, we are part of Europe, not the European Union because of all the Brexit
You
stuff.
are Europe, just not the EU.
Do you want to just tell us a little bit about your travels then, apart from all us lot being under attack?
No, but I was actually going to kind of bring it into an observation. So I covered 3 countries in Scandinavia: Sweden, Denmark, and Norway. I did not go to Finland. I stopped in Iceland, connected in Iceland. By the way, it's some really ugly people in Iceland. Just, I hope there's not too many Icelandic people on the show, but there's some unattractive people in Iceland. Very attractive people in Sweden. Very attractive.
Yeah.
So, it was we took my son. It was my wife and I. We took my son. He's the boy who wants to go to Sweden because he wants to marry a Swedish girl. Like, that's his motivation in life. He's clearly my son. He's quite the boy. So he's been taking Duolingo for over a year to try to learn Swedish because of his dream to marry a Swedish girl. Mind you, he's 11 years old. So, as you can imagine, this trip is not cannot be the traditional adult trip. There's very light on museums, although gratefully I was able to go to the ABBA Museum in Stockholm. Highly recommend it. Love ABBA. I truly love ABBA. I had no idea that they started with Eurovision. It's like that they were like stars on Eurovision, which I think is very funny. I think Eurovision's a very funny thing, so much so that they did a movie about it, which I thought was very funny. Anyway, so very light on museums. The boy can't handle museums, but what we did do, and I sent Elisa some photos. I sent you photos of some parks. And Stu, I don't know if you knew this, but in Norway, in Oslo, Norway, there is a park that, Elisa, maybe you can like upload some of these photos that I sent you.
Yeah, I'll get them and I'll send them.
It's right on I just texted them to you. They actually have photos of reptilians and child killers or child in a public park. This is true. And I look at this and if I hadn't been red pilled, I would have been like, no, that's a strange sculpture. That's odd. Reptile looking person killing someone and some dude probably killing about 4 children at once. I was like, but now since I'm red pilled, I'm like, no way.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. The cabal are just shutting down because he's talking about reptilians. Now, Elisa, where are these? Are these on your WhatsApp or phone or what?
I'm just sending them on WhatsApp. I also
but you can just share your screen, can't you?
I guess I could. It's on a different program though, where they are.
Oh, don't mind him.
I'll just send you 2.
Where to? WhatsApp.
Oh, sorry. These pictures. I had seen them because they've been floating around the internet, like in the talk of, child, during the last few years of truthing and stuff like that. I've seen these photos before, but obviously not live.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that thing.
Yeah, I mean, this architecture is everywhere. If you really, I'm not one for going around.
I just happen to be in Oslo, Norway. I just happen to be there. And this is what I'm staring at.
Yeah, I'm not one for going. I'm not one for going around looking at buildings. Really, it's something that doesn't light the fire in my heart. I do like looking at nice architecture, but this sort of stuff is everywhere on buildings in many.
Yeah, but that one's like really in your face.
And what's that? That's a reptilian.
That's
is
a
it?
reptilian. No, he's killing a man or taking his essence. I don't know what the hell he's doing, but that's a reptilian.
Yeah,
you know, you gotta wonder what like the normal person who isn't, what have they been thinking?
That was me. I was like, I would have been like, oh, that's odd. This guy must have been on LSD.
Right. Right. But why would they put it in a public park, you know?
And by the way, I don't remember the name of it. What a beautiful park. My God, this is in Oslo, Norway. This is, they called it the sculpture park. So it's got sculptures by this one artist who clearly is Cabal. Wow, what a park. But man, unless you're privy to this stuff, you must be like, what the hell is that?
Yeah. And when do these sculptures date back to, or you don't know?
I think they're like late 1800s, early 1900s.
Okay. Wow.
No.
I wanted to we got a few questions because, you know, it's been a couple of weeks and people were asking about the young girl, Melania.
Melania.
So I thought we just cover that before we go into some other things.
Absolutely. So as you can imagine, this is not something that you come across every day. It's like, how is this possible? Yeah. And you know, you hear about it, you hear about stories, but you know, we all live this in real time. Yeah. It was happening during the show, like happening. And it was not you know, it wasn't something that ended quickly. No. You know, I when I heard this from my client, I was like, oh, you know, she's probably just being, you know, a very rebellious kid. And you know, that's what I'm thinking. Even though I know everything from my Red Pilling Rene show, like I know what is really going on. But remember, the show isn't red pilled Rene. It's red pilling Rene. It's a gerund. It is a process. So there's still the old non-red pilled Rene in me that was thinking these things. Well, I speak to my client. I try to put him at ease, and I tell him, you know, anything you need, we'll do. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to do. So I immediately reach out to Stu and Elisa, and I say, you know, we need to reach out to our network to help this girl Melania. Ironically, her name is Melania, and they do. They put us in contact with one of these agencies and groups that help these children, and they were able to make certain key contacts in New York. You know, one of the contacts was through the media. Another contact was through the NYPD. Because they have contacts with these desks, and these desks are, you know, they're part of law enforcement, and they're also part of the media. And I would assume that that's part of the process. So one day goes by, you know, my client I never spoke to the mom. I don't know the mom. You know, they're divorced. It's on my place. You know, he's my client, so I'm dealing with him. So every day that passes, this man, client, which I regard very dearly, is deteriorating. You know, it's almost like he's going into a state of madness. Because imagine your child, the person, essentially why you work, why you've done everything in your life for this child to be okay. Because as a dad, you know, we're not so necessarily lovey-dovey. All we want is for our children to be okay and to be better than what we were. So then here is this man who's trying to be strong for his family, trying to be strong for Melania, is before my eyes just breaking down psychologically. You know, he's just, every day is worse. So the whole ordeal was about 10 days. All right. During those 10 days, there's a lot of work going on in the background, work that I'm not privy to. But I can tell you that whatever was done by the group that you guys put me in contact with, there was a positive result. Melania was found. I don't know the details, but I know that when the group got involved, NYPD made this a priority. All right. It went from like, she'll show up to all hands on deck.
Yeah.
So it turned out, from what I understand, because I want this man to get his wits about him again, and by the next show I'll have more information. It turns out that she was on a subway in New York City, in the Bronx, and she was approached by a man, older man, details that aren't really important, racial details that are really not probably relevant, or they are. And this man took little 14-year-old Melania to his house, to his apartment. And under the guise of helping her, did not allow her to make communications, did not allow her to leave. The only call that she was allowed to make for some reason was to a friend in Arizona. And then the friend in Arizona, I believe, contacted the police, and they were able to kind of like somehow connect the call with like cell stations or something like that. And they were able to kind of like narrow it down, and they found her. And the man was arrested. I'll have more details, but I'm assuming that the charges are endangering the welfare of a child. By the way, this was not a relative. This is a stranger. This is not a known person. This is person X. And I would assume, because she wasn't given her liberty, kidnapping. Wow. So when confronted by the detectives, from what I understand, the man said, "Oh no, she's my sister." Like, he's probably a little bit crazy. I would never hurt her. I would never, So clearly this person was not part of some greater awful thing, like human trafficking or organs, nothing like just that level of crazy. But it's this level of crazy. It's a different level of crazy. It's like an everyday level of crazy. So imagine a 14-year-old not allowed to leave an apartment. And the only person there is a man who's a total stranger. So this is what Melania went through for about a week.
Wow. Now, where did they arrest him? At the apartment? Is that where they found her?
At the apartment.
Okay. Oh my God.
I cannot wait to see these charges, because there's no way they're going to let this man walk. This is a big deal, because this is not something you see every day. This is something you see in a movie.
Right.
Kids on a subway, like a little bit of a runaway, like barely a runaway, like she had just left. And
so he found her right away, Rene?
A few days later.
So after that picture was taken at the homeless outside the women's shelter? Okay.
But when that photo was taken, she had not met this man.
Okay.
This is pre-weirdo in the subway.
But see, we're assuming too, because you say he's not part of a network. How do we know?
We don't. Right? And remember, it's very delicate for me to deal with these questions, because it's my client.
Of course.
But I have an opportunity. His case is probably, I think, going to be settled sometime in September, October. So in preparation for those meetings, I'm going to, by the way, ask him a lot of questions. By the way, under the desire to not only make sure that he's okay, but also to inform the public so that these things never happen to another child, if we could help it.
Well, I'll throw this out there, and I know he's, not, doesn't speak very good English and all this, but the most important thing I think that he can bring is not only what happened, after she left, but to try to educate parents how this kid left. Like, how did the kid get out of the site? These are the things. Listen, as parents, we all have arguments with our kids. I don't know the extent. We don't know the extent of what was going on in the household, right? But very innocently, kids have emotions, and they're, at that age, their hormones are crazy, and they do stupid things. So this is something very important for preventative purposes, right? We could talk about what happened.
So I don't listen. So I was thinking about that this morning. This is what I'm gonna want to do. Because I need to settle his case first, because I don't want it to, I don't want it, to get out there, and it's not professional.
Yeah, it's private matter.
Yeah, so God willing, I settle this man's case in the early fall, which is my goal. And then once that's done, once he has, the case behind him, maybe what we could do is we can get an interpreter, and we could put him on and hear from him really the details, post, like, now he's got, the end of a big lawsuit. He's going to be more comfortable. He's going to feel less vulnerable in society. And at that point, he'll be in a position of strength, not a position of vulnerability. And he'll be in a position to help people instead of needing help.
Yeah.
Can I just ask you, what language does he speak? Because don't you speak Spanish?
Yeah, but I could do it, but I would rather have maybe someone from my staff do it. Like I'm a lawyer. I can't be an interpreter. I've got to maintain a certain decorum. I can't be the guy who translates.
Sure.
Yeah,
So maybe I'll get someone from my staff to do it.
I just want to say, I feel very proud, actually, that the three of us on the screen, along with Mark Abrahams, Basil, and everyone that was involved onwards from that, to get this girl back.
Yeah,
right?
It was to be part of that. It's something I'll never forget. It was something that was so foreign to me. And you know what? Everything happens for a reason. It really does. I think about that more and more every day. Like, I'm in this world not by accident. The fact that I know you guys, the fact that I had this connection through you guys to this network of amazing people that help children, the fact that I was able to then first console him, counsel him, having the mentality of a person who's thought about child trafficking, thought about abuse to children and organ trafficking and all this horrible stuff. But I was able to derive strength from that. And I was able to counsel him. And then we put the network into effect, and they were able to prioritize this with the NYPD, and the girl's been saved.
It's so amazing. It really is. It's and I'm so proud of you, because we were in real time. You just happened to tell us, like, yeah, and like the wheels were turning. It wasn't really making sense. You were trying to make sense of it. And then you just were like, I gotta go. I gotta get off the show.
I remember it was a 2-hour show before I went to Europe, and it was like hour 1, and then I started getting calls from my client. And I was like, okay, I gotta go. I gotta deal with this.
Yeah.
And here we are. It worked.
Yeah, we saw it in real time. I mean, the idea of like the abstract, like when we had Baz on our show and he was talking, and he's a badass. He's the softest spoken guy, right, Stu? He's so soft spoken. But then you look at his resume, he was CIA operative and he's telling us how they've never not gotten a child. But then to actually see it in, all we did was, talk to Mark. Mark made I don't even know if he made a call. I think he sent a text like, we need to talk.
And he stopped everything he was doing.
Yeah.
Mark just like, I think it was, because he's on the West Coast. It was like really early. He was like, oh, no, okay, got to go. And then so putting the network in effect. And Melania is here to tell the tale.
Yeah. So you also mentioned that it seemed like she was okay, physically.
She was taken to the hospital. She was examined, which you told me that is also
well,
traumatic.
we learned from one of our guests that while many people who don't understand this process and are just so appalled and so worried will then send a child for an exam. Right. And she explained to us that is just as terrorizing. And, we don't know this because we don't understand. We're not, but now we know, and hopefully law enforcement more and more will understand that that's not the key. Let them talk, let them tell you.
So she was not, she was not touched. No one, the man didn't touch her, nothing. He almost like had her there as a pet. As a pet. It's very strange. Very strange. Very strange.
This is,
and you think, oh, okay, he's insane. This, he'll get off. I don't think he should get off. I don't care how crazy. I don't care how crazy. You just took the liberty away from a 14-year-old for a week. Bro, you go to jail forever.
Yeah. And, we were talking, I don't remember what show it was. They're in a lose-lose position because even if they don't get a strong sentence, but they end up in jail, the inmates do their thing, they don't put up, there's an honor among thieves with these guys. And if they know what you've done in any way to a child.
I think you mentioned an ex-boyfriend you had, Elisa?
Yeah. When I was it was in my 20s, I dated this guy who was a corrections officer over here in New York at Rikers Island. Anybody who knows Rikers, pretty tough jail. And, he was very nonchalant, just like, and that week or something, somebody was arrested in New York for, I don't remember the crime. It was either a rape or it was some kind of violation
of a kid,
a baby, like a 5-year-old. And the first, you saw the arrest, and then like the next day, whatever, I guess he was arrested and sent to Rikers. The next day, there was like stories how he sustained life-threatening injuries, from a fall. So I said to the boyfriend, I said, what really happened? He's like, what do you mean? He goes, the guy fell. I said, come on. I mean, who's that stupid? He goes, this guy fell. He goes, sometimes, not this case, but sometimes what happens is when they bring these guys in, he goes, sometimes like that we're so overwhelmed as the prison guards, we forget, like we might forget to lock the gate. Sometimes these things happen. And then before we get to them, these guys go crazy. And they're upset about what this guy did. He goes, not this time. This guy, he had like broken ribs. He was unconscious. I mean, like,
clearly corrections officers are some of the busiest people on earth.
And he wouldn't go away from that story. You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't go away from the narrative, but that's the thing. Like, I don't know what's worse. Like, is it worse to get shot, like executed, or suffer the consequences that these hardened criminals are going to impose on you because you crossed the line and hurt a child?
I'm going to follow this case. I have to do it in a very professional kind of way, but I'm going to stay on it. I'm going to keep you guys apprised of the outcome of the life of this twisted individual.
Yeah. Well, this is a perfect segue to talk about something else really fast. We had a guest on a couple of weeks ago, maybe a little more than that, Michelle Peterson. And Michelle is just an ordinary mom, or was, I should say, a physical therapist. Anyway, she had her son when he was, I think it was it 15? I think it was when he was like 15 or 14, something like that. He was groomed by his coach. I mean, the guy was the story is incredible, very long. I'm not going to get through the whole thing, but suffice it to say, he had a position of authority with this kid, and he would call him and text him. And at one point he offered him money to service him. I mean, it was really pretty disgusting. Now, the kid didn't know what to do, in the sense that he was trying not to engage, but it's his coach. You know what I'm saying? You're at a disadvantage, and
Right.
people don't understand that no matter who you are as an adult in a kid's life, you hold authority. It's just the way it is. So the mother got his phone and found all this, and she pursued it. I mean, the battle she had to fight went on for years. The end result was Andrew's Law. And by the way, not only did she have to fight the powers that be, she had to fight her son, because think of a kid at that age, like, Ma, don't do this. They're embarrassed. So they passed Andrew's Law, which was the first ever anti-grooming law. Now, the good news about that is that, number one, she was able to get it through different states, right? I think it's 18, something like that, 20. It might be a little more since we last spoke, that the states adopted this law. That's the good news. The other good news is that the law enforcement that are trying to prosecute and bring to justice traffickers have used her law as a basis, because there are no other laws on the books. So they're using this as the precedent, if you will. So what does she need help with? And she's going to be at the conference, the Awakening Summit. She needs help with people in different states, namely New York. It hasn't been passed yet. So Donna Ferrara and a bunch of us are trying to get this in front of the right people so that it passes. Ultimately, we are trying to pass a national anti-grooming law, and subsequently the goal is to get it international. Now, one of the things that she's actually sat there and helped write out are definitions. So they defined some of the definitions of a person of authority as like a coach, a teacher, a priest. And we were discussing this, and it was her opinion. She's like, no, that's too limiting.
Right.
Any adult is an authority figure who has control and power over a child. It shouldn't be limited to, careers. And so that's where we're at. So I don't know, maybe we could talk at some point off camera, maybe some of the contacts you have, or as together we could get this in front of the right people so that New York passes it. These are the kind of grassroots things that make the difference, because the government, as we know, and law enforcement, not all, of course, and the court system have all been the organizations like CPS and all these things that they have colluded to this awful pandemic of child trafficking and everything. And so we as individuals and parents have to step in and change all this so that we eradicate it.
Yeah, that's got to happen. It's you never think of this stuff.
I know.
And I think that's the problem with people just in general. Until something happens to them, or like close within a certain ring of their lives, it's like it doesn't exist. Yeah. And that's the problem with human beings, just people in general. They're so, and it's not their fault. I think it's just hard enough to survive in this world.
Yeah.
That unless it's right in front of their noses, it's someone else's problem. So, and I'm hoping that this whole ordeal we went through on the show, I hope that the audience made it their problem. Like they felt it. Like I felt it. I was sick.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like my cousin or a niece. It was a client's daughter, but it was close enough to me where I made it I felt it. I felt his pain. I empathetically felt every day that I would get up and I'd be like, okay. Like that. Instead of just like, oh, it was something you read on the news, like, oh, what a shame.
Yeah.
I lived this thing. And I hope that the audience lived it too. And the
muted.
But the good thing is that we came out of this triumphantly because of this great network of people.
Yeah, well, we lived it too because it happened on our show, and the people that watched that show and the chat, they felt it too. People were asking us every day,
all the time. Yeah, a lot of prayers, I'm sure, helped. And here's the other thing. Yeah, and here's the other thing. Like with this whole thing, like if you look at, like you read the Epstein files, right, and you were forever changed and disgusted and hurt and in pain and disbelief and all those emotions. If you look at the alliance and what they've had to do over the God knows how long, right? We really don't know how long this has been going on, but let's say 5 to 10 years. They had the unfortunate job of saying, how do we disclose all this shit so that people don't become so overwhelmed that they shut down,
right,
or that they think it's BS? Like, there's no way I'm buying it, because they go into cognitive dissonance. And that's an unfortunate thing, because most of us who start, like, as you awaken, you start to say, who cares? What do we got to wait so long? Just throw the bucket, put the bucket of ice over their head, let it out. But you can't do that, because people have to absorb this so they can truly take it on as their own mission. And it's such a shame, because how many kids, have suffered because people haven't had enough awareness. Maybe if someone had more awareness, they would have noticed that guy who just looked like a weirdo was really a bad person doing something.
Can you imagine, little Melania, like in this place, the doors are locked, she can't get out. I don't have the details. I'm assuming she was being fed. If the guy thought, she was her, his little sister. I guess you feed your little sister. I guess you feed your pet. I guess. Can you imagine what this girl would go through when she would go to sleep, like wondering if she'll get up the next day?
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
No,
like she might think, like, every day in this guy's cell, it's prison, she doesn't know if she's going to be alive the next day.
So personally, I didn't think about anything like that the time she was missing, because I didn't want to put negative thoughts out into the universe, right? I just kept positive. She'll be all right. She'll be back. They'll find her. All these sorts of stuff. She's okay, right? But that's what I tried to do, just to keep myself going through it. And then, what show were we on when you got a text from Rene, Elisa?
Oh, who were we on with? Yeah, because you texted me. They found her, and I was like chomping because we were in the middle of a show, to just blurt it out. I don't remember. Do you
remember what date you got the text
from Rene that we found her?
Check your phone. Because I'm on. I would check, but I'm on my phone.
Yep, I'll check when we got that news.
And I'll tell you which one it was on.
Yeah. I'm looking. We have a lot of correspondence here. You were away. It was during your trip, right?
Yeah, I don't remember where I was. I might have been in Denmark.
Here we go. I found it. All righty. Here we are. I have the pictures. Wow. She's back with her mother. Just trying to see what date. I think it was Monday the 20th. Yep. They found the girl.
Lynn Scott Hagerman.
Oh, yes.
That was on our Monday Respect show.
Wow. You couldn't have timed that better. Lynn is, she does amazing work helping people. Her story is from the time she was an infant till she was 5. She was trafficked and harmed.
So it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Wow.
Awful story. Now she helps, she does tremendous work.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in a movie. We're in a simulation. There's no question. There's no question.
Right. Okay, that's beautiful to hear about that. So let's move on. Have you had your eyes on much while you've been away, or not at all, really? I'm going camping at the end of August for about 6 days, and I am not going to look at a thing. Right. And
listen, I wasn't looking, but when you go to this park and you see reptilians, it kind of like followed me along.
Oh, yes. I mean, yes, everything will be there. But what I mean is, when I'm in this field, I won't be loading up my Telegram every morning and watching the X-22 report and all that. I'll be getting up and having a tin of beer for breakfast, etc.
No, I wasn't hunting data. I wasn't. The data kind of just came to me. So, which is nice, I was on vacation, so I needed to vacation in all respects.
Cool. Okay. Well, I do want to ask you a couple of things because of interest. But you didn't see the speech Elon Musk did with it was a woman, and she's got a double-barreled surname, and it was from The Economist. But Elon put these people in their place. I want to show you a couple of clips from this.
Yeah, let's see it.
People. It's just normal people. It's just normal people. And and here are the principles. And tell me which of these sound terrible. That we should have secure borders. That we should have safe cities. That we should have sensible spending. Which of those three are far right fringe? And I would like to just admonish you and the media for the absurd characterization of the far right, which is false and misleading and nonsense. Please keep this part in.
We'll keep all of this in.
Don't cut this part.
Because he did say in another clip as well, the people that you are claiming to be far right are normal people. But this other clip is
just people.
Politics. You don't even live there.
I think of it as the sort of the West collectively.
But do you see why this makes people think that this man who has all this power, he's the world's richest man, he thinks he has a right to influence our politics? It makes people, it's why, we started this conversation saying superlatives. It's why people loathe you. I mean, some people do loathe you.
Yes, some people do.
I don't loathe them.
Do you understand why? Do you think what you're doing is helpful for Western democracy?
Maybe some people do loathe me. And that's probably true. I don't care. But the fact that, as you pointed out, 250 million people follow me is that I think a lot more people actually like me than don't. And I think a lot more people hate you and the media more than you realize.
I like it.
So
good
great.
Man.
Absolutely classic Elon. That
extreme efficiency in every word used. That was a master class. That was awesome.
Yeah. Now that interview was, I can't think, an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half, something like that. But yeah, people were digging clips out of it. But that's a superb watch. But we're really seeing this, people waking up, sort of media, properly.
I'm telling you, this Kuwait Spain thing is going to change the game. It's a freaking invasion. It's a sea of humanity. There's 80,000 people in this small city, 80,000, and they are under attack.
Well, they reckon 49,000 have come across that border already.
Right, into a town of 80,000.
Yeah. Well, they're making it more and more absurd. I mean, we've had an invasion here, a complete.
No, I know, but this is a river.
No, but I agree with you. But what I'm saying is, people didn't get the U.S. invasion. It hasn't been enough to see all these women and girls being raped throughout Europe because of the invasion. So now they're making it so absurd that people have to look at this. Like
we needed a river of humanity.
100%.
And guess what? We just got a river of humanity.
This is like what I would say if I was like helping to run the show. I mean, the movie show. I'd be like, okay, we went from telling them to screaming it. Now we just got to get like a 2x4. We're at the 2x4
This is the 2x4.
Whack them on the head.
Well, you cannot tell the people the truth. You must show them. What about all the people in Quetta? Maybe 80,000 were people who are going, we're all right, Jack. It's nothing to do with us and all that stuff. What the fuck do you think they're doing today?
They're looking at ways to kill these people.
Well,
they're like, okay, let me see. Okay, I got a butcher knife. I got a rope. Maybe I have some fireworks left over. I can put them together into a bomb. They're looking to kill them. That's what I'd be doing. I like, who do I kill first?
Yeah, but they've obviously, the first thing on their mind is their own safety, isn't it? From what we've seen.
Obviously,
going on, you know, shops are being looted. Look, this could all be movie. It could be military. It could be wag the dog stuff and all that. We don't know. Right? We have to keep our minds open to everything we see on the tell, lie, vision.
Got it.
Yeah. And, you know, going back like 5 years or so, right, we heard, like, at that time, you know, when we were following different people, I remember something very poignant that Simon Parks had said, and he said, this is not about one country, you know, this is about the world. So you have to, for things to kind of break, or, you know, everybody's like, oh, when is it going to be over? And when is everybody going to know what's really going on? You have to look at it that we all have to kind of be equal, you know, where the country's at in terms of their awareness, in terms of the progress that they're making. So we're seeing it like ebb and flow, right? We're seeing all things we've done in the United States, and now we got the quote Biden show going on in the UK. And so we have to kind of take that like 40,000 foot view and look at the world at large, because this is all about humanity. You know, it's not just about our country or it's the whole world.
You know, and things can get better in the third world. You know, third, and I call it the fourth world. It can happen. I mean, the best example I can think of is El Salvador. El Salvador used to be like one of the most dangerous places on earth.
Yeah.
And then
Bukele.
Then Bukele came in and he just changed the system.
I don't think he's dynamic. I think he's part of this operation, and I think he's been working for Trump and this military alliance to do that.
You know what I've been doing lately? I've been kind of looking on the computer about maybe taking a vacation to El Salvador. I mean, it went from like a place I would never touch with a 10-foot pole to, I want to see this with my own eyes, this improvement.
Yeah, I mean, we were posting all the videos of that coming out, all these people being marched in. All they were wearing was ankle chains and white shorts. They were marched in, they all sat down like that. Those cells are 100 people in each cell. I think there's only 20 beds. They're there for life. That's you done. You fucked around and you found out. Right?
Now you're in hell.
And that is a warning, right? And whether that's a warning to criminals or the cabal or whatever, that can be done anywhere. Yeah. Trump's gone into Washington, D.C. It's one of the safest places to be now, since he sent the military in and cleaned a lot of the stuff up, you know?
I'll be there again. I'll be there again on Wednesday.
Oh, that's right. You got to get Fran. You know, the other thing with El Salvador, so my hairdresser, who I've been going to for like 25 years, she would tell me stories. Now, this was long time ago before I was really awakened, you know, and everything in Q and all that. But she would tell me how they would have to bar and people would just walk into their house, steal their food. Like they left her her and her family left. They came here. We were talking about immigrants yesterday. What did they do? She started a business. The just the strength of the immigrants, you know, the people that want to be here and come to America, what they do for this country. And
yeah, but some of them want to steal.
But
I live this every day. There are the good ones and there are bad ones.
I'm not saying that
I will tell you just.
But let me tell you something, Rene.
I deal with this population.
When we're talking about now, you go back 30, 40, 50, 80,
different,
right? That's what I'm talking about. With the people that looked at America, we had a whole show on it yesterday with Mickey about they wanted the life. They looked at America as a place to grow and expand their lives and make their children have a better life. And what's happened because of the cabal engineered things, we've gotten, as Trump says, the criminals, the dregs of society that have been force fed into not only our country, you know what I mean, all throughout Europe and all these other countries, the invasion. And that's what's been engineered to destroy. But I'm talking about people who truly desired to
well,
be
that's
here.
you know, that's my family. That's
Yep.
that's how I am who I am, because of that immigrant mentality.
Yep.
You know, but I will say that what's happening now is it's a little bit like remember in 1980 the Mariel boat lift, when Fidel Castro sent boatloads of people to South Florida, and these are the dregs of society. These were criminals, rapists, murderers.
Yeah.
And it's a form of warfare.
Infiltration.
It's a form of warfare. He couldn't send us nukes, so he sent us their prisoners. That's what Fidel did.
Yeah.
And you know what? For a long time, South Florida was not a very desirable place because of those Marielitos, those Marielites. They were bad people in their country, and they became bad people in our country.
Yeah. And I would go on further with Fidel Castro, because he was just a punk. He had the support. He had the support of the cabal and all of these. He was the front man, because all of these awful things that they did in Cuba and the boats and all this other stuff was because there was a much bigger power structure behind this. And that's what we're hoping is really
Fidel Castro was not, he wasn't a street kid. He was privileged.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. He was just a punk. He was just a front guy to do all this stuff. He didn't have the true power.
Well, he became a billionaire, multi-billionaire, one of the richest people in the world. And you know, it's a real shame. You know that he went to he wasn't the same year as my dad. He's clearly older than my father was, but they went to the same high school.
Really?
Yeah, they went to Belen High School, Belen High School. So in Cuba, there were you know, certain families that had influence. You know, our family was one of them. And Fidel's family was another one. And there were 5 schools. Let me see if I can name them. That all the elites, you know, I hate to use that word elite, but the privileged of Cuba went to. And the schools were Belen, Columbus, you know, like Christopher Columbus. And all these schools, by the way, are in Miami now. They're recreated in the image of those original schools. So if you come across a privileged Cuban boy in Miami, chances are he went to one of these 5 schools.
Okay.
So Marist, like, and they're all, I hate to say it,
Jesuit.
They're all Jesuit.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. It has a different connotation. So that one, and then for I can't remember the other ones, but it'll come to me. And then for the girls, it was Sacred Heart.
Okay.
You know, we have a Sacred Heart here that your kids went to.
Yeah.
Here in West Hempstead. So it's interesting. So this freaking guy, this Belen High School graduate, changed history, changed my family's trajectory to the point where I'm now sitting here in Long Island talking to you guys.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, my mother tells me this all the time. She goes, I wish you guys would have lived the life we had in Cuba. You have no idea what we had.
Yeah.
And I believe it. They lived it was an idyllic life. It was
a beautiful place.
You know,
it makes me so sad, because one of the last things that conversations I had with Vivian, George's mom, before she passed in March, she said, like, I could cry. She said, I wish we had Trump. back then.
Yeah.
And she was watching what was happening with Cuba. And I wish that she and Raul could have lived to see the changes that we're going to see, because the generational trauma that they experienced on having people come into their homes and count their their possessions, and the stories that, I only heard for such a very brief period of time. Of course, you heard so many. These were kids, young people that had a life that was just ripped away, and they had to make a whole new life in another country, and they became successes. But that trauma, was always there.
Crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's so many people around the world. Like Cuba's just a metaphor in many ways for so many other places where these bastards have just decimated societies, for their own gain, and because
it's not irony. It was done intentionally. It's only 90 miles from the United States.
Yeah,
it's 90 miles.
Right, I just want to address a couple of questions about this, because Chris said all military-age men fleeing war zones, they're pure cowards then, leaving their women and children behind. Correct. And Robbie said, we've had 1,000 coming over the border every night from Mexico for a couple of years when Biden was in. I know a guy that videotaped it and talked to them. Yes, I do believe that, but lots is going on. Now, obviously with this withdrawal from with the Taliban, deals made and leaving all that equipment there, I'm sure this military alliance is worldwide. Now, potentially, and with the border wall as well, Trump finished nearly all of that border wall open and left a few, closed it, but left a few little bits open, didn't he? We were seeing loads of videos, which would quite easily be staged, of people coming across and coming across. I even talk about this, 60,000 secret army and military from all around the world pretending to be immigrants coming in for the boats coming across there. I do say I know people that work in customs and stuff, and that check these people in and stuff, but potentially you could have the same people coming across different beard and glasses and
remember we had the show with the cruise ships.
Hang on,
they're actors.
As a way to bring in military. And now I know you could just fly military in military aircraft if you wanted to, but to kill two birds with one stone, show people this immigration problem, right? Coming across the borders there, coming across the boats here, this thing that's going on in Quetta at the moment, you could use, I'm not saying it's guaranteed it's happening, but you have to be mindful that this could be what's happening, right? To use these military men, right, as part of the awakening, etc., etc. Do you want to comment on that?
I just want to add one more thing too. We took down, we don't know exactly when, right? But we know that they had to take down the cartels, because the cartels were not, were funded by the CIA and all these organizations. It was a big, but you still had these guys that were pretty strong, with guns. And so I think it was like 2021 or 2022, Stu, and of course we get our information, we have to discern it, but there was conversation, I think it might've been from Phil, just saying how that operation was in process and we were taken down, who knows when it happened, although they make it seem like it was very recent. How are you going to do that? You got to do it with military. So how do you it's like what Stu said, how do you get these guys in?
What I want to say to that is, if we believe patriots are in control of this and have been for a long time, we know there's still criminals out there. We know there's lots of things happening, but would the patriots allow, maybe this is just something they didn't know what was going to happen in Quetta, right? And all of a sudden there's an influx and they're trying to deal with it now. But if the patriots were in control, they're trying to save children. And I know we've had to have collateral damage in this. You've got a choice to make. You can save 95% of people or 5% of people by going in gung-ho, right? We're going to lose 5% if we go this route. It's something that's happened. But would the patriots in control put people in these positions, right, for a laugh and just a bit of movie to play out, So we have to think about all these points, right, through everything we've seen going on. We've seen people wearing masks. We've seen all the swamp were wearing a fucking leg boot, weren't they? Which was changing sides on some days. People forget what we've seen over this last 10 years, 9 years, you know, well, 10 years since Trump came down the escalator. You've got to factor everything in to where we are now.
Yeah. You know, and listen, I don't know. We could never really speculate. I know Gene Decode did a lot of good decodes about how many tunnels there are. I don't know what the number was, 2,500. I'm probably getting that wrong in the United States alone. And then he did one show where he went throughout the country, all the ones that had been secured. Okay, that means the military went in, they saved the children, they dealt with whoever was there, and then they blow it up. Oftentimes they'd flood it. So there was still a lot. A couple of years ago, there was still a lot. So that has to be worldwide. So we don't even know when we see these things, is it cover for a saving expedition, exercise, right, where they're making us look here when really they're over there, just like COVID. Who knew they were taking children to the park?
You know what? When I'm confused like this, it's good.
Yeah, good. Me as well.
I don't know.
Now, there's a great comment here that said they're shutting down access to the Mediterranean Sea. Well, it's funny that obviously, where we were talking about is right.
That's it.
On the Mediterranean Sea. So
that's
maybe
the Strait of Gibraltar.
Maybe this is an excuse or an operation to shut off the Mediterranean Sea for ongoing military operations. You know, so it might be something to do with oil or people escaping, or do you know what I mean?
How
many swamp creatures do you think have got private yachts in this body of sea?
They're all there.
Well, they can't go anywhere. They can't go anywhere if they shut that off.
That's right. They're all right there.
Thank you.
They're all in, Greece, south of France, Corsica. They're in Croatia. Trust me, they're there. That's what they are.
Yeah.
And Ken Griffin of Citadel, multi-bazillionaire. He was just in Monaco this morning. So they're all there. That's what they are.
Yeah. And it could be that. And listen, we like to hope, we like to pray that all the children have been saved and all the people that are trafficked have been saved. But we know that they use submarines. It was underwater. All these things are underground. Like, I don't know. And then I know I've seen a number of videos, again, we don't know, right, of people in the military that they're not even allowed to tell their families where they're being deployed to. These are secret missions. These are secret missions to save children. And, we put the emphasis on children because we know how awful, but it's anybody who's being trafficked.
Yeah.
So there's, I've been following like a lot of the newer technologies that are coming out. And a big reason why I'm always going like this is because I can't tell a deep fake from reality. Like I see like a million videos on aliens, like nothing phases me. But because I am dialed into this stuff now, there is technology coming out now that they are deep fake detectors. So essentially you run a video through one of these deep fake detectors and it tells you within like 99.9% accuracy if it's AI generated.
Yeah.
So I think what we need to do is we need to assign an intern or something to like run these videos that we look at all day to tell us if it's real or fake. Because that'll be very good for my mental health.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what the hell to believe anymore.
Well, loads of people are doing this. Everything we're seeing now, people are going, well, everyone's asking Grok, aren't they? Or ChatGPT or whatever.
Yeah, but no, they have the Grok's not going to be good enough for this. And Gemini won't be. There's very specialized AIs that just deal with this. Whoa. So if you use like a general, general language AI to figure this out, it ain't going to be right all the time. It's going to have too many mistakes. You need like a specialized AI for this, and then just run all this stuff, because I'm sure you guys want to know what's true and what isn't. Because it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
But then these new AI tools, who do you think's behind that? Potentially, it's probably the white hats behind that, because they want everyone digging into, you know,
like we gotta make that part of our analysis. Otherwise, it's very easy to believe in fantasy.
Well, because we've even said, right, it's so hard to use your discernment, something that we've been talking about for years, when even we can't tell the difference between what's real and fake.
No, we need tools. We need tools. Otherwise, you know, it's hard to find truth in what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Well, the dark side wouldn't be creating these tools, would they? If they were trying to fake stuff, they wouldn't be creating tools that we could find out if things were fake or not.
Well, I mean, remember, Stu, there's some really smart people in this world. Some really smart, good people. You know, and the cabal doesn't control everything. There are some really smart freedom fighters out there that I'll call them freedom fighters because that's what they are. That they're, you know, MIT graduates, like really, really smart people that can do stuff without the blessing of the cabal.
Well, that's true, but unfortunately, the cabal had ways of infiltrating these good people. We were chatting about this yesterday. You have amazing, smart, industrious people who came to this country and did these amazing things, and they got infiltrated. You know, I mean, so our hope, what we're feeling right now, is that number one, the Patriots are in control, even if it's not 100% done. You know what I'm saying? But we know the outcome, just like you know how a chess match is going to end, even though you may lose a few pieces along the way. And I also,
especially if you play my son.
Okay, there you go.
But the way it's going to end is that you lose.
Good for him.
Yeah. Do you remember when Q said to James Bond? Funnily, he's called Q as well.
Yeah, exactly.
He said, "Mr. Bond, I could do more damage on my laptop over morning coffee than you could do in a year," or something like that.
Right. I remember this.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one that was, but I remember that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So if they are in control, which we believe, the other thing to look at why we would say they are in control is because how many hundreds, thousands of years we didn't know anything because they didn't let us. I mean, who's leaving this stuff for us to find? I mean, even beyond the Q operation, just now you can find things. Now people search. They had that stuff hidden. They didn't want us to know.
It is. It's the Zoids. You asked JF and on Sapioplex. It's the Zoids. Now, listen, let's just change this a bit because we were already done an hour and 10 minutes. Rene,
9/11.
I want to ask you about this because Trump has made two really good speeches while you've been away. One was 27 minutes about the elections are definitely stolen. We've got the evidence, all these sorts of things. So we're expecting things to drip out from this. Then Trump did another speech about an hour and 30, well, however long it was. And there was so many comms in it. He was calling everyone out. It was absolutely brilliant. But Fauci was in his what's it called, testimonial or whatever it is.
What color is the carpet?
Yeah, I'm gonna on the advice of my lawyers and under my rights under the Constitution of the United States, I will plead the Fifth Amendment 111 times. Now we know Fauci has had a pardon, so has under Biden, etc.
Right, but if it was done on auto pen, it might not work.
Anything they did before or since 2014, when that coup was in Ukraine, basically. Now, I think the White House are in control of that. I don't think Biden actually pardoned him. That was to show the people for what's coming now. But Fauci sat there. People were saying to me, "Oh, look, it's a nothing burger. Nothing will happen. No one will get nothing. Nothing will ever change." All this sorts of crap.
It's the biggest nothing burger I've ever seen.
It's black pill fucking nonsense. And Trump said, "Don't be a panican." But I think the fact that Fauci pled 111 times, someone actually said it was 112. So, but I'm not going back to count. Right, 111 times. That did him more damage publicly. When we've got little video, I'll find a little video for you in a minute, but I want to ask your expert opinion, being in the position you are, about what's going to come of that and what more trouble is in, etc., etc.
So you know, in the first year of law school, we have our core classes, right? So one of the core classes are civil procedure, contracts, torts, constitutional law, criminal law. Those are the core classes for your first year of law school. And I remember, as if it was yesterday, my criminal law professor says to a classroom of 120 students, a lecture hall, if a criminal uses the Fifth Amendment, that's a guilty person, because you only use that when there's no other defense. When you can't deny something on facts and you know what you did, the criminal will use the Fifth Amendment defense.
Yeah.
Now, the Fifth Amendment defense isn't absolute. It doesn't work for everything. So I was trying to go through this in my mind as I'm watching this Fauci debacle. And I'm thinking, wait a second. You can't always use the Fifth Amendment. The fact that he's abusing the Fifth Amendment creates a specter of guilt. And then there's other ways to do it. You can now attack him on state grounds. You can do a million other things now, because he basically told you, I'm a criminal. And once someone tells you I'm a criminal, the way the justice system is set up, they will now get him. Because that defense only works for a very specific purpose, which is to not incriminate yourself. Okay, that's nice. But now that you did that, now they're going to let the dogs out. Because now, even though you won't incriminate yourself, we're going to incriminate you.
Yeah.
Let me just play a very quick vid.
I am very happy to testify before any congressional oversight committee. I have nothing to hide. I can explain and validate everything that I've done. So although it pains me to do so, under the advice of my attorneys, I will invoke my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution to refrain from answering your questions.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
Yeah. But they have to do this. They have to, there are still people who are not paying attention. And
let me just, sorry, let me just add, this movie is still, it's not for us. It is for the fucking normies, right? We're the only ones watching it, but another normie comes over and has a look and has a look. That is what it's done, is to get all the people that are not awake, right? So it has
I remember during COVID, when people were attacking Fauci, I'm like, this man is trying to help us. That's what I was saying. It's like, what the hell is wrong with people? Why are they attacking this freaking poor scientist? He's just trying to get a vaccine to help us so we can go live our lives.
Yeah.
Except
in my first news, I was going, and Fauci.
Except the poor scientist doesn't invoke the Fifth Amendment 112 times.
Exactly. He also doesn't kill tons of animals and test his stuff on children and cause the AIDS epidemic. Yeah.
Yep.
It's pretty scary. Now, here's something interesting. I have a relative who just does not want to be.
Wasn't he related to Mengele? Remember you showed us that photo?
I think it was he was trained or something like that in that group. I don't know if he was related.
Didn't you show us a photo of Bush and
H.W. Bush and Mengele and I'm gonna say the name wrong. Goring.
Goring.
All those guys were in that picture, that family picture.
Yeah. And I think one of those was directly related to Fauci.
Yeah. Well, there's speculation that he's the son of
Mother Teresa.
Mother Teresa, who isn't really a woman, who was the biggest child trafficker.
Oh, you guys really.
Well, India, it's not even a speculation. India has worked. They hide
No,
it.
I believe you.
They worked to get that sainthood title revoked because they said what it did.
What she did.
Yeah. And of course, she's seen with Hillary Clinton and all these kind of things. But we digress. The point is, I have this relative who refuses to be red pilled. I guess it's too scary. And she's like watching the Fauci stuff. And she's like, this son of a bitch. But this is her reason why he's like, she goes, so-and-so, one of her friends, had 2 vaccines and she still got COVID. And I'm like, oh my God. So she believes the test works. She still believes the whole COVID scam. And she's mad at Fauci because the vaccine didn't, this is what we're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't tell her anymore. I have, because I think it really shakes her to her
No,
core.
but this ridiculous use of the Fifth Amendment for everything.
Yes, it's beautiful.
That's really, for a normie, it's everything.
Meaning,
because they're going to be like, wait a second, you asked what color the carpet was, and you invoked the Fifth Amendment.
Come on, you can't make this shit up. That's what I'm saying.
Color your tie is Fifth Amendment. A normie sees that, they're like, that guy's guilty of sin. And you can literally accuse him of anything, and he'll now be guilty of it. Anything. You can accuse him of being a 3-legged cow, and people will now believe it. Because he took the fifth on the color of the carpet.
Yeah.
Dumbass.
Well, was he, or was he an actor playing a
Or he was an actor. Exactly.
And now people start to go, It's kind of painful, to watch this.
You want to know something? Like, Congress is they're not very smart, just generally as a collective body. If you're just like a little bit guilty, you can lie to them and get away with it. You really could. But the fact that he abused the Fifth Amendment, now they're going to come at him with a howitzer.
Look at that picture.
You guys are too funny. You guys are too funny.
Now, you got to wonder why this stuff surfaces, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but women have that power, right, Stu? They can, like, they look at a baby and they say, "Oh, he looks like your great aunt," and I'm looking at the like what? It's a baby.
I'll just tell you something else.
Looks like a baby.
Just tell you something else as well. Even the fact that Mother Teresa wears blue and white,
right?
Yes, and that temple is blue and white.
That's right. Oh my God, you're right. The temple with Epstein. This
is the sickness of the
and it's the same shade of blue.
Yeah, and the stripe, and Israel. This is the sickness of the truther community, because we just dig and dig and dig. And okay, we're digging, but I think we're being left off a lot of breadcrumbs and a lot of.
Yeah, you're being left clues.
We're being left clues. Yeah, absolutely.
They've got a lot. Someone said, who was that? Cassiopean. There are only small amount of Aussies who know who Fauci is. Yeah, and that's pretty similar in the UK. I've mentioned to it, fucking Fauci. Did you watch Fauci's test? Who's Fauci? These are
right.
These people that went along.
The Brits aren't thinking about Fauci.
Yeah, but they have to put this on the public, to get, when it comes, he is probably one of the biggest mass murderers that ever lived.
I mean,
yeah, I'm thinking that.
When I started doing my Stu's News, right, and that was early in May of 2020, I started that. I was doing little videos, not very long. Fauci, the rat-faced little bastard. Do you see what he's up to today? And that's how it was. But, people just weren't listening.
Yeah. Here's the interesting thing I was going to say. I just lost my train of thought. You said about
why you remember that? Do we even think that is the real Anthony Fauci that was sitting there in that courtroom?
No.
I see Elisa shaking her head.
Compare the pictures.
Yeah, was that filmed in a military base? Was it actually in the courtroom? You know, these are questions that we have to ask if we believe Patriots in control. And a lot of people were taken out and replacements put in their place. You know, Brian Monkey told us, didn't he? He said the White Hats don't use clones. Now, I don't know that for 100% fact, but I could understand that because of the moralness of what the White Hats are doing. You know, whether the cabal uses guns and stuff.
So,
but actors, masks, etc. We have to question everything, absolutely everything we see and everything we think we see. Did you remember what you were thinking of, Elisa?
Yeah, well.
No, go ahead. Let him finish.
So it's interesting. So the only exposure we had as normies to cloning was, remember the sheep.
Dolly the sheep.
That was it. We thought that that's where it ended. Like, they had this sheep experiment. Oh wow, interesting. That's it.
Yeah. And
then, you know, I don't know if you guys are into Star Wars. Yeah, one of the Star Wars movies was the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
The Clone Wars. So I think and that's maybe cabal speak for it's going to be a war of clones. Except it's not, you know, in Star Wars the clones have lasers. But maybe it's a war of clones where you don't know who is the original.
Right.
You don't know which is a clone. You know which clone is loyal to what.
It's all there in Star Wars. It's the Alliance against the dark side.
Yes. The Simpsons, Star Wars. It's like, it's a simulation. I say this all the time now. It's like, it has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Well, like, you know what I find interesting? When we started to like really, you know, really dig and get all this information, at least for me, can only speak for me, I felt like, oh my God, the dark side is everywhere. And they are, whatever. But I didn't really realize until now how infiltrated everything was by the White Hats and how they were giving us messages. And they, you know, there's a lot of people in Hollywood that we don't know who were really good, who were trying to show us things. So I think it's been this battle. So the question is, who's going to win? And I think we know who's going to win, because personally, I believe if the White Hats weren't in control and the good side wasn't, we'd all be dead.
We'd have been in the FEMA camps a long time ago.
Yeah, we'd be in concentration camps as slaves.
Trump did warp speed, right? This is to the military, whoever, to accelerate the cabal's plans. We believe. We don't think they could have stopped what was happening during COVID. They had to negate as much damage as possible. So the fact that that vaccine came out in 9 months, and whether the military got a lot of saline out there or not, right, was the fact that they had to do it under an emergency usage authorization, which meant they couldn't mandate it and they couldn't lock people up who didn't take it, so that they couldn't come and get all us patriots, keyboard warriors, digital soldiers, right, protesters, marchers, whatever you want to call us, the ones speaking out. Because if they'd have managed to take us all off the playing board, all you'd have left is the normies, and they would have been fucked.
Yeah, normies would be just doing normie things, like nothing's happening.
And they'd probably be celebrating all the tinfoil hat people who've been taken care of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I don't think you realize, I mean, maybe you do realize, but Q is looked at as just such a fringe thing by normie people. It's like the crazies.
Yeah.
Like literally the crazies.
I mean, for us,
the normies are the crazies.
Well, and then the mainstream, sorry, Stu, I just want to say this. I remember my kid said something to me once. She's like, "Oh, are you talking about QAnon?" Or whatever she said. This was like 5 years ago. And I was like, I could punch her in the face, or I could, at that time, I was really angry. So I was just like, you know what? When this EBS happens, she's going to be another casualty of getting a bucket of ice on her head, and I'm not going to interfere. But I digress. So so what I'm saying is, I think a lot of this operation, okay, because we like to look at it as awakened and the normies are over there. But truthfully, we've been PSYOP too, in many ways. And I think one of the things they did to us with they were serving multiple 5D chess purposes, but they censored us. They put things on the news that went against narratives, because I do believe the military was in control of the media far longer than we think. And they were doing all this because I think underneath what they were saying is, let's see how much gumption you have. You're gonna ante up, and you just got canceled on Facebook. You're gonna start another account. You're going to go to another channel and you're going to continue to fight the fight, because we're going to figure out who is really strong and how much you can withstand to keep going, because those other people need you. And I think a lot of this was done as a challenge to people. More people woke up, they started to fall into that camp. Like, what? Like, we had Scott McKay on this week. He had 39 channels on YouTube taken down, and he just would start another.
So you know that expression, capitulation. You hear that expression. So there are different types of capitulation. This is stuff that I've been wrapping my head around. So there's one capitulation where there's like a bad event, and then you just capitulate to a new reality, right? But there's another type of capitulation that has to do with time and boredom. They call it time capitulation. So like if you create a scenario for a people that is very bad, like let's say that there's you can only have water on Tuesdays, something like that.
Okay.
So then in the beginning, there's like an uproar, right? But if the powers that be keep it so that you can only have water on Tuesday, over time, there's time capitulation.
Yeah.
Where the people accept it. So at first, there's capitulation where it sometimes works where there's just like horrible event and you have to accept the new reality. And then there's time capitulation. I think what they did to you guys was a combination of event capitulation to make you capitulate, and also time capitulation, where they made you accept a new reality. That makes sense?
It does make sense. I just want to say to everyone as well that for all the people that were awake, that awakened, in the last 10 years, and the people that awake before, if we did not have Q, we would have been in a lot of trouble going through this. Well, I think we'd have, I don't know, given up, lost our minds maybe, and all sorts of stuff. And don't forget that if people look into this, I think it was called Cicada 3301, which started in 2012, I think. It was like a precursor potentially for Q. Some anonymous people were putting these things you needed to solve online. No one knew who was doing it, and I think they were tracking how people worked around it and how many people got involved in this sorts of stuff to see if when they started dropping the Q drops, it would be something that worked or not.
So if you're aware of things, bad things going on in the world, things that deeply affect you, that can make you, and it's something, and you don't have an outlet to share it with, that can get you very sick over time.
Oh, yeah.
Very sick.
Yeah.
Because you're like, you're now internalizing all these concerns, all these worries, all these things that you're seeing, but others aren't. And it can make you very sick. I think what the community has been able to do has been very healthy for a lot of people. they're able to talk about it, that they're not the only ones that are seeing things that others aren't seeing, that they're not crazy.
Yeah.
You know what the mainstream media has tried to do to cue people is make them out to be crazy.
Well, I will tell you, just from my perspective, I felt very alone during the election of 2020 and watching the numbers change. And I literally felt like I was going nuts. And the next day screaming, to anyone who would listen, this is a coup against the Republic and all this kind of nonsense. But I felt really alone, and I had felt alone about some of my other crazy ideas, like Michelle Obama's a man, just a funny example. What I got sick, I had gastrointestinal problems. I had to go to the doctor, because until I started seeing within, the next week or whatever, I started seeing people pop up that I started following. And there was other people who thought, you're right. We, at that time, or anybody who was we were so vulnerable because your mind can't wrap around what someone's telling you the reality is when everything is telling you inside you it's not true. And this has been such a major operation because they had to take all these groups, all these psyches into consideration. And at that time, maybe like a year into all this, 2021, all I wanted to do was wear my t-shirt, my vindicated t-shirt. I was so angry. And over time, I don't feel that anger anymore. I really don't. Now I want to,
because you're healthy.
I want to help people to understand.
You were right. You were right. You saw what others didn't see. And you're seeing things that others still aren't seeing. So you want to know something? All you could do is find comfort in that reality and then help others that are still blind. And I think this Fauci thing, as a trial lawyer, I look for like something. Like whenever I have a case, I always look for like something that makes any defense impossible. This Fauci thing is that. This is gold. This is lawyer gold.
Yeah.
That you can use forever.
And even the fact
all you have to do, hold on, sir. All you have to do as a lawyer, whenever they start hitting you with like knowledge, you just put a video of Fauci taking the fifth about the color of the carpet. That's all you have to do.
I know. I want to say something else. I just want to bring up, I need like 2 minutes to step away, but I want to talk about Lindsey Graham. So I'll be back in 2 minutes. I just, Stu, if you want to carry on for like a minute, I just have to leave the camera.
What are you doing?
I just have to leave. I have to leave for 2 minutes just to get something at the door.
Yeah, go on in.
So Stu, the opening credits, there's you've got all those videos, like those cool, videos.
Yeah.
So one of them, I believe, is the Raider airplane, the B-21 Raider.
Right.
It's the future stealth bomber of the United States. Let me make sure I got the right name here.
You're talking about in our intro to the show.
Yeah, the intro. You've got the the cool video. Let me make sure I'm not screwing this up because we have so many bombers. Hold on. There's a reason for this too. I guarantee you. I didn't have my breakfast, so my brain is starting to shut off. Yeah, the B-21 Raider.
Yeah.
So you know what I did? I got a license plate called the B-21 Raider because I think of myself as a stealth bomber. Like nobody's expecting the little Hispanic boy from Long Island to be anyone.
Boom! So, he came in like a wrecking ball.
So here I am with the license plate, the B-21 Raider. I just got it the other day. I put it on my car. I'm like, most people have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, which is what you guys are. You guys are You guys are the B-21 Raider.
Yeah, but
because
this is
nobody
also
knows.
This is also why I've got loads of T-shirts and merchandise with stuff on it that 98% of people won't know what it's about.
They have
but
no idea what it's
those
about.
few people that spot me in the crowd and go, and they're the people I want to talk to. Although, we're trying. You can't wake up people that don't want to be waking up. I don't waste my time. I constantly plant seeds, and I will always ask questions if people ask, Stu, what do you think about this, etc. But I don't try and drill anything to anyone anymore. I'm not doing it. Right.
I like being the B-21.
Yeah. So do I.
I like to be the guy that nobody expects to, to be anything or to know stuff. I like that. It's a good feeling.
Yeah. Well, we've also had Lindsey Graham pass away, haven't we, in the last week?
And that was, I'm sorry, that was the weirdest thing.
Well, I think pretty much everyone's been going, what's Lindsey Graham? Is he cabal? Is he white hat? People have been saying this for years, but he's always on the golf course with Trump. That should tell you quite a lot. What a lot of people are discussing of late is the fact that Lindsey Graham turned on McCain, right? No name, that name we don't like to say, right? Turned on him and was working for Trump, whether he was dark side, whether he's always been good side and infiltrated them fuckers back, right? But I think pretty much all you need to know is you look at the flag on John McCain's coffin and a few others, and you look at the flag on Lindsey Graham's coffin. It is pristine, ironed. John McCain's flag was wrinkled and thrown on there. That is the sign that we look at a lot of the time. Who's a traitor?
Interesting.
Yeah. The other thing is where he was buried, right, Stu? McCain was not buried at Arlington, and the other thing I remember, do you remember when
do you know where he was buried? McCain,
yes, some very small, I think it was a military cemetery, but not Arlington. His father, his grandfather were both buried there. I'll look it up. But Graham, they actually just named a military base after him. You don't do that for traitors. No. And I remember, whatever it was, 8 years ago, do you remember when that man, Lindsey Graham, was walking through the airport because he was obviously playing a role, and people were in his face, you're a traitor, if these men are playing they're good people and they're playing bad roles for the sake of the movie and to show things and the abuse that they've gone through, we have to really be grateful for them. And I don't know, there's a lot of weird things with the numbers, right, Stu? Like how many days he died, and it took 17 days to have the funeral. So I don't know. Is he in the Gone with the Wind program? Is he really gone?
Yeah, I mean, what you were just saying there about Lindsey Graham walking through the airport and loads of people berating him. You don't know if that was filmed somewhere. All the people who were berating him were part of the fucking secret army, and they were doing it to put it out there because this is what the white hats would do. If they want someone to believe that they're not working for the white hats and they're a cabal member and stuff, you would be putting out videos like that of the white hats, right? Of people calling Lindsey Graham a traitor. Now, did you see those coffins, Rene? Could you see that on the screen when I put it up?
Yeah, I see it. It clearly, it's, one is hyper wrinkled and the other one's pristine.
Yeah.
So that
that's not a coincidence. Right? That can't be a coincidence.
No, they don't. There's a number of people that have had those messed up flags. I think George H.W. Bush, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And Ruth Bader Ginsburg, was she another one that had a? Yeah.
I mean, that's a message, I think.
Yeah.
This is the white hat saying
Lindsey was one of
us. That's a bad person right there.
And even another thing, we don't even know if he has died. right? If he has, we say this about everyone.
Look,
we've sent our warmest love out to the family and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but we said so much, right?
I guess he's dead.
We don't know if he was. We don't know if he's played his part. And now he's sitting on an island somewhere in Valhalla with JFK Jr., Diana, Michael Jackson, Shaman, Tupac, and everyone else, and Charlie Kirk.
I don't know. I suppose they're dead.
It's very interesting because Brian Monkey, he's a very interesting guest that we have on, we've had on, and we're going to be having on more. And he went to an event in Dallas. Was it 2021? And he said he saw dead people.
I'm sure. They just found Michael Jackson maybe in Brazil. Maybe.
Yeah. But key to all this, many of these people that we're seeing, they are part of the Kaluni bloodline, the bloodline of Jesus Christ. And so they have been fighting this fight against the dark side for centuries.
And the world owes an apology to Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
He was, they made him out to be this pedophile animal, and he was the one who was saving the kids.
Yeah. There's a queue in front of his
Have you seen that?
No.
Neverland.
Let me find that.
Show me, because you guys are always full of surprises. My answer to everything should be, of course.
Well, no. Some of these things, again, you don't want to just blindly believe, right? You do a lot of research now.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody in the chat said 900 people we were told died are alive. I believe it.
Yeah.
I have no proof.
Let me just check something real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah. This might be a good chance, right? We don't want to forget to give a plug to the...
Well, you can do that now while I'm messing about for this.
Okay. So you guys, we're going to just continually plug the event, the Awakening Summit, October 16th to the 18th. And it is now going to be in Clearwater Beach, Florida. It's a 3-day event. We have a lineup of about 31 to 33 speakers. And the website is theawakeningsummit.org. Now, I will warn everyone, we are still updating it. So when you go to the website, you'll probably only see the past event. So just bear with us another few days. We're going to have all the speakers. You're going to be able to buy tickets on the site. You're going to be able to get merchandise. It's a really sophisticated website. And as I said, and also with the hotel, there are blocks of rooms for anyone who's attending. We're very happy that we just added Red Pilling Rene to the roster.
I will be sponsoring.
And he is going to be a platinum sponsor. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts for that. And yeah, I would say within the next, I think we're shooting for the beginning of the week coming to have the website up and running, and you guys will be able to check everything out. And probably our next show will give the full rundown of all the speakers.
And I'll tell you why I did. I really think what you guys are doing is amazing. I really do. And it's what you're giving to the world by just putting light on things is invaluable. You guys make the world a better place. So it's my way of saying thank you for making the world a better place.
Well, you as well, my friend, because you saved a young girl, and that you can never forget.
We did.
Yeah. Yeah.
We did.
So what are you looking for, Stu?
I'm just looking for Jackson? No, I found all that. I was just looking for a picture of Princess Diana's gravesite from above. But I can't find one anywhere. Anyway.
I used to have a crush on her, like a serious crush on her.
Oh, she was amazing. Did you get up at 3 in the morning or whatever it was to watch the funeral?
I was young, so yeah. Probably not. But I did see it.
Yeah. Wendy just asked how Melania is doing. Well, I don't know that we know, you know, Renee's going to get a little bit of an update from her dad, but we do know she's safe and she's back home. So that's the important thing.
She's back in New Jersey.
Yeah.
With
Good.
her mother.
Yeah.
But I will have more information by the next time we get together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll just say this quickly. Diana's memorial from above is pretty much a Q. JFK's memorial grave from above is a Q.
That's
and
crazy.
The Neverland Ranch at Michael Jackson is a boy sitting in an O, which makes a Q.
That's insane.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's insane. You guys scare me more than you can imagine.
Do you remember when that Evergreen container ship got stuck in the Suez Canal?
I don't remember.
It was halting all the traffic and all the back.
Traffic.
What?
It was worldwide traffic couldn't go through the canal, could it? Because one of the
ships, yeah. I do remember.
Well, all the people that were tracking it, that ship, and I haven't got it to hand, actually went out before it went into the canal. It drew a cock and balls in the water before it went in.
You've got that image now in your mind, Elisa?
Yeah, I'm trying to formulate.
You got the cock and balls, like you got it squarely in your mind. You got that?
So who I never saw that. That was news to me, Stu. So was that tracked at the time?
But it's now news that you'll never forget.
I'll never forget that.
I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
That's crazy. I mean, there's so many. They have a great sense of humor. I have to say that.
They do.
I guess you have to. You know,
the cock and balls pattern. I love
it.
Yeah, even the Comfort. It was either the Comfort or the Mercy. And I mean, even looking at those boats at that time did something to me inside. Do you know what I mean? And we think they are completely different from what they told us we were. You know, whether they were rescuing children or whether they were being used as barges for prisoners, you know, under the guise of being a hospital ship or not, we don't really know. But I don't think they were what they were telling us they were. But even that, because I mean, watch the water in the Q drops. We've seen many things that we could go, oh, that's watch the water. But I was watching the water, thinking with that Q drop in mind, and I watched the Mercy or the Comfort, whichever one it was, go down the coast, and it did a big circle like that, and then made it into a Q and carried on.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And you know what? You have to wonder, why were there two, right? Because maybe one was for the children and one was for the prisoners. Because if they were saving children, they were pulling out.
But they went to different places, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
One went to New York and one went to Los Angeles, I think, didn't it?
Yeah. Who knows?
Is that correct?
Now that you're saying it, it was just the one that was the Comfort that was over here in the harbor.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was in New York.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Comfort came to you.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the other one went to Los Angeles.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Which is on the other side, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Really, I mean, you got to figure at some point they're going to make documentaries of these events that happened. By the way, isn't like the Sum of All Fears kind of like coming back around, Stu?
What, the movie?
Well, so what's that new movie? I was watching it on Dave last night on News Treason the other night. That new movie. Yeah.
We keep getting Ness and Dormer comms. Trump's playing it in all the things. And Ness and Dormer was sung at the end of the movie, The Sum of All Fears. And basically, at the end of that movie, all the criminals that thought they got away with it got taken out as a crescendo because they were trying to blow up the football stadium in Baltimore, weren't they? I think with an atomic weapon or something. But we keep getting these comms. And look, we still think potentially we're going to have some sort of scare event. Gut punch, near-death experience.
Could be a nuclear war, because the movie that's coming out is kind of like this. When was The Sum of All Fears? 2010, 2000.
It was about 20 years ago.
Yeah, about 20 years ago. So now the new like now back in your face, there's another movie coming out now about another World War III nuclear attack scenario. Right. So I think
it seems like, if they don't get this Iran situation out of under control, it just seems to be spreading. We might be in World War III right now.
Well, I don't really think so.
They've got all the Middle East now. Everyone's sending jets and bombs, and it seems.
Are they?
I don't know.
Is that what they want us to think? Because they're building up to a scare event to wake the masses up. I mean, we know that area pretty much capitulated in many ways, many years.
Remember what we discussed before: event capitulation, time capitulation.
Then that would indicate that the cabal is still in control.
Well, there's other people. Look, number one, I don't think World War II ever finished. Right.
Right.
And number two, we've got
Nazis,
there's certain people saying, like Nino, etc., that we have to go into this scare necessary event or this thing so they can flip the switch from control from the SES over to Cheyenne Mountain. Now, that would suggest the cabal has still got a lot of control, and I'm not sure how much of that I believe personally. But let's see what happens. Everyone just stay frosty out there, because if you live in Quetta and this is not any sort of operation, right, you need to keep your wits about you. People are walking out, people are driving cars into people at Christmas markets, right? People are getting stabbed on trains and stuff. So you can't just wrap yourself up in cotton wool and fucking stay indoors, right? Just keep your wits about you wherever you go, right?
All right, guys. So are we at the end of the show? I am going to get my day started. Again, guys, great show. Really enjoyed. Very happy about. Obviously, all the news with Melania is huge. It's really, it gives us hope in the world. It really does.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And we're glad you're part of the Awakening Summit team. It's going to be great. It really is.
It's going to be fun. Absolutely.
All right. So we'll see you next week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone in the chat. We love you all, and thanks for all the support for finding Melania. That's absolutely brilliant. I've got another one of Tartanium's videos to play at the end because I absolutely love these. Hope he gets back to me and does one for us, but I haven't had a response yet. But take care, guys. We see you all. We're on in 2.5 hours with Jason. So take care. We'll see you later.
Anonymous posts dropping, hidden predictions, proofs confirming, lies and deception fading, sleepers around us waking, storm of disclosure brewing, brilliant light of truth shining, endless web of lies crashing, sound of real justice rising. Is truly happening what we awaited approaching. Invisible strings of control snapping, deep state puppets frantically dangling. Those who were hunted now do the hunting, long awaited justice finally coming. Innocent children joyfully playing, suffocating darkness rapidly fleeing. Unified patriots together singing, victory bells in the distance ringing. Everything's really happening. The great awakening. Desperate media keeps spinning, false narrative rapidly breaking. Whole weary world in suspense keeps turning. Cue drops keep perfectly proving. Masterful plan was never once failing. Hidden timeline of fate revealing. Forces of good steadily winning. Endless victory, not just fleeting. Evidence piles are relentlessly mounting. Cue crumbs from years ago keep confirming. Corrupt old cabal visibly crumbling. Arrogant elites nervously squirming. Mainstream illusions totally failing. Brave hot patriots boldly rising. Entire planet is quietly transforming. Wave of awakening spreading. It's happening now. We're living the happening. Trust the plan, it's happening.